You are listening to IPL Radio.
I'm just continuing our chat with some of the cast and crew from a short film, Nothing Special, made here in WA. How's it going, guys?
It's good, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Again, thanks for coming in. We are just working out some technical issues, so we have been chatting for a bit, but I think we're just getting the cameras up and running now. So if this gets posted on YouTube, we'll just do a little bit of a recap and stuff, and basically just go over the film. First of all, who created the film? Wrote the script?
I wrote the script, but I had a lot of help. I had a lot of help throughout the whole process from Taylor and our composer / associate producer / just general amazing person, Sanjay.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Just kind of the three of us have kind of just been this little unit from kind of day one.
And so was it like an evolving script or something you set in stone?
So we started with a first draft that was completely different to the final product. I mean, as you know, all films go, but kind of halfway through, like I'd come to them with a new draft every time. And at one point we were just like, this doesn't work. Let's just scrap it and start again.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that hard to do?
It's a little difficult, but at the same time, it's good to sort of know when you can do it.
Yeah.
And know that you can do it without having much of an issue. Like it wasn't like we were like a week out. We were like a good sort of month or two in.
So it's all about the timing and stuff, I suppose. If you're going to scrap it and go for a restart, then you want to give yourself plenty of time to play with before filming and stuff is booked in.
Yeah.
How far out do you have to book filming and stuff like that?
As soon as possible, pretty much. It's not only necessarily booking locations, but there's a lot more to it as well, like confirming crew and everything. That was the biggest thing. You know, we had quite a toss-up with cast working through this. You know, we had Kai available for the first end of the week, and then Chris, who played Super Guy, they're available for the second end of the week.
Yep.
And there was only like one overlapping day where they could really work together, molding together and everything like that. So yeah, you want to try to aim to get that booked in as soon as possible so that people can also notify workplaces and stuff like that if they have to book it off.
Yeah, right, of course.
We kind of tried to book it as soon as we did the pitch to get greenlit.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff was already pretty much booked from pitch point.
Yeah.
Plans did end up changing, but try to get it done as soon as possible, months out from filming. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Far out. And I should actually just introduce you all again for the YouTube video as well. We've got Taylor Burton. You are the producer of the film. We've got James Garcias.
Garces.
There
it is.
There it is. Director and writer.
That's correct, yeah.
Creator. We have the lead actor who plays Jack, Jacob Miles, and Kai Chasm, who plays Jack's dad, Jim. Cool. All in here. So yeah, again, thanks for joining us. I'm sorry. Just to get back to you writing it, what was your inspiration for the movie as well?
Oh, my dad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the whole thing is the house that we filmed at. Like he owns that house. He built it up sort of from nothing. He bought it. It was built in 1910, but then it just kind of fell to ruin. And then a few years ago he picked it up and it just kind of became his little hobby, I guess. He went there and he built it up over the years, and just sort of seeing that happen and kind of just my own sort of journey through life and figuring out what I wanted and sort of, you know, it not being exactly what my parents thought I would do, but that's okay because, you know, you go to your parents and you're like, yeah, I want to be a creative. They're like, great, where's the money in that sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all about stability and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. So just sort of taking inspiration from the kind of like jumping off point where the plans that you have for yourself and the plans that your parents have for you kind of like split.
Yeah.
And then repairing that relationship as well. Like that is an important part of that. Sometimes it doesn't happen, unfortunately, but I was lucky enough to, you know, we went through the ups and downs, but we never really had any major issues. But yeah, when it was in the writing process, I kind of went back to my headspace in that time when I was like writing Jack and just kind of figuring out sort of his ups and downs and mapping them. And I was like, oh, he'd feel like this in this moment because, you know, this happens. And
well, like you were just saying, sort of diverging from what your parents had you planned for you as you grew up, and you're saying that you're going to do something different. That's sort of what Jack's process was in his journey was I don't know how to say without giving away too much, but basically it's a boy that develops his powers, and I think it's all in the trailer for the movie
so
and stuff,
in the
without
movie,
revealing too much.
yeah,
But basically, Jack discovers his powers and wants to follow the sort of more notable superheroes, I
Yeah.
suppose. And
Yeah, so Jack develops his powers and he wants to sort of go off and be a big shot superhero in the big city,
yeah,
you know, with the American accent and the spandex and all the flashy stuff. But Jim, his dad, sort of just believes that, you know, if you've got powers, use them for practical reasons.
yeah,
Use them to light the barbecue and cook snags, or use them to, you know, lift up a big heavy piece of wood and build something with it. Like, just use it to enhance your life rather than build a sort of fake persona around it.
yeah.
And that kind of like mentality that
Jack's dad, Kai,
Yeah.
is Jim, who refers to Super Guy in the movie as a wanker.
he does, yeah. He does.
Because of that exact reason. Super Guy is obviously the spandex-clad American accent superhero that everybody thinks is awesome, basically.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Jack,
Great.
he's great, yeah.
Great guy.
And Jack wants to be just like him. So yeah, and that's sort of where it comes into diverging away from what your parents had planned for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And without saying too much, there is a growth journey that leads from that story.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, right. Cool. And just to get back to sort of Pingelly, you just went out and filmed in Pingelly.
Yep.
For those watching the YouTube video after, we were talking before about Pingelly and the logistics involved in going out to Pingelly. You were filming over 5 days, so it must have been pretty hectic to make sure everything ran smoothly for those 5 days.
Yeah. A bit of paperwork, as you can imagine. You know, you've got to go right down to, as you know, Pingelly's quite old. We were at one point in time filming on a balcony, and unfortunately, because it was built so long ago, there was a limit as to how many people I would allow on the balcony. All the way down to little things like that in pre-production. We went, okay, hazard report, certain amount of people on balcony. Hazard report, don't interrupt the wildlife, please. Don't do, be nice.
Don't
to
step
the-
on this plank on the balcony.
This plank.
There was holes in that balcony. We had to navigate some holes in that balcony.
Far out, there's some hazards and stuff to work
Yeah.
around. That's all right. But
Yeah.
a lot of paperwork, I imagine, because you're responsible for the safety of your actors and stuff as well.
Yeah, so
I can't stand paperwork. I don't know.
So not only hazard reports, but like I said before, making sure all the guys were really looked after. James and I and Sanjay, we all went into this knowing we wanted to create a set where people loved each other, and there was a zero bullying tolerance, to this film, no bullying policy.
Yep.
But that worked out so beautifully, making sure everyone had their own hotel room, and just setting even down to little things like we did cater to breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. But for example, the breakfasts were optional, so people could still go out to the cafe. I think it was called Six Seasons. They were absolutely amazing.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, just making sure people were really comfortable. There was a lot of work that went into just again making sure people were really comfortable.
Just an example on how they did that. It was my wedding anniversary while we were shooting.
Oh,
They
really?
actually got me a room that I was able to invite my wife and daughter down. So they got to hang out on set and spend the night there, and all had dinner together for someone's birthday as well.
It was
while
Audrey's
we were down
birthday.
there. So
Yeah.
super welcoming, inviting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, putting everyone first, and they did an amazing job with that. We definitely felt really welcome, and they created that harmony on set.
Accommodated for all your personal needs in there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So I imagine 5 days, you're all going out to Pingelly, which for those who don't know is about 2 hours away from any real civilization. And then you're out there for a reason, and I imagine it can get pretty intense, but you've all managed to work pretty harmoniously. There's
Absolutely.
no major dramas.
Nah, I
was
have
one.
to say
What was this?
There was one where a certain man opened the window and let a bunch of midgies into a room we were filming in.
Controversial. Now, this is what we want. We want some of that.
The drama of there's nothing
Yeah.
special set. James,
Awesome.
would you like to talk more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. it was one of those nights where it was like we'd had such an intense day, and it was the final day that Kai was actually on set for. So we were like making sure that we got everything that we needed, because we knew that once he he'd gone, like he was gone. We can't really bring him back. We can't go, hey, drive another 2 hours. Come on, we
Yeah.
need you back for like
Come
one
out,
more
we
shot.
just need a quick reshoot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were quite stressed, and then we had sort of an extended like break that day after he'd gone home, and then we just had to shoot like a couple of shots inside a bedroom at night, and it was literally just Jack at a computer, and we were like, oh yeah, we'll just take it cruisy, take it easy, and yeah, at one point I was like, oh, we should open the window because we should open the window because it's a bit warm in here,
Yep.
and yeah, as I did that, just so many
A swarm of
a
midges.
swarm of midgies just like absolutely flew in, and we had to like stop for an
Wow.
hour. But it was like it was good because no one got angry. Everyone was just like they were
Really?
having a great laugh. We were like, this is hilarious. This is the best
If
thing
that's
ever.
the worst thing that goes wrong on a
Yeah.
film set, then you're doing all right,
Yeah,
I suppose.
exactly.
I have to say a big load of credit for that, and the way that we went was Dylan Marenko. He was
Oh,
our
man,
Lord
yeah.
and Savior on set. He was our first AD.
Yeah.
He was just such a legend coming on board. Like he
Yeah, right.
arrived on set first day. James was obviously stressed. He's like, okay, oh my God, we're actually going to start filming a movie. And Dylan walks over. He's like, give me your watch and your phone right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
and-
He's like, you're
right.
not allowed to look at the time. Just focus
Wow.
on what you're doing. And
Yeah.
it was
And,
the best thing he did.
Like on our was it a final shoot day where he recovered the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 3.5 hours behind, and we were
Wow.
like, holy, like,
Yeah.
this is really bad. And we finished 20 minutes early.
Oh, wow.
He did such a good job at saying, okay, shot's done, let's move on, but not in like a mean way.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, let's keep going, keep
Just
going.
taking care of business.
Yeah, does anyone need a coffee? Is
Yeah.
everyone okay? Like, okay, let's move on. James, do you feel confident about that? Just really on top of things. And obviously first ADs usually don't get a lot of credit, which is really unfortunate, but Dylan deserves the absolute world.
Yeah,
He
right.
saved the
Dylan
set.
was fantastic. His timekeeping was absolutely amazing. He just kept it going and that pushed through. This is good enough. Let's go.
Yeah.
But everybody on set knew their role and
Yeah.
performed it 100%. Audrey doing set design, Jess with the costumes and stuff like that. Trying to sleep in the Pingelly Hotel and you hear a sewing machine going.
Really?
Yeah, it's making a superhero costume.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's what caused and assisted in the bonding. Everyone did their role so well.
Yeah, right.
Thomas, he played a small part in the film.
Yep.
Walter, the lawyer.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Thomas back.
He was on the barbecue. He was
Oh,
cooking, he was
really?
running around after everyone. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody
right.
was so good at what they did and put 110% into it, and that's where the respect and the love come from, I reckon.
Yeah.
People
And-
just sorry.
Oh, no, you're all right. I was just going to ask Kai how he got on board with the whole project.
Yeah, look, years ago in Kalgoorlie, something
just
came up.
Turn that mic for you.
Yeah, years
there
ago,
you go.
Kalgoorlie, something came up, and I read the script and thought, I could have a crack at that. They were looking for extras for Ewan McGregor film, Son of a Gun.
Yep.
And I read it, and criminal type stuff, and I've got a bit of a rough head, so I put in for that, and wasn't too bad. A few years after that, Mystery Road come along, and a friend of mine tagged me in a post on Facebook and said, "Hey, you did a movie before, want to do another one?" Read the storyline. I was a big fan of Mystery Road prior to that anyway.
Yep.
So I sent in some headshots for that straight away and tried to get in on it, and they said, "Yep, you're exactly what we're looking for. Let's do it." Spending some time on set with Mystery Road, I just really enjoyed the atmosphere. The culture and everything there was fantastic. You got two actors that are almost identical, I suppose, and this guy is telling this guy who to contact about a job. And I thought, what a beautiful place and way to be involved and culture to be involved with, coming from mining,
Yep.
these guys helping each other out. I thought I want to do a bit more of this. So I got some headshots done, joined a couple of pages on Facebook, and basically things pop up on Facebook, student films, etc., saying, "Hey, we're looking for someone to perform this role."
Yep.
I'd send in my headshots and see how it goes. These guys picked me up. Went in and did the audition. It went really well, and it was my first major role with any speaking parts. Mystery Road and Son of a Gun, I was just a thug type dude in the background.
Yep.
But these guys picked me up in a speaking role. What do they call it? Support actor or something like that. It was huge. It was huge. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. And then, working with all of them was fantastic. I've decided to pursue it further and just keep going.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
yeah.
So it's still sort of a part-time gig at the moment, but you're picking
Yeah.
up jobs and
Yep. Yeah, I'm FIFO at the moment. 8 days on, 6 days off. So my 6 days off, I pick up jobs here and there. I've put in for a few of them, auditioned and been successful.
Yep.
But unfortunately, the scheduling and my roster doesn't quite line up with some of them.
Yeah, right.
But I'm building up annual leave so I can take a bit of annual leave here and there for the right job.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Got just finished another one that was filmed out in Bullsbrook.
Yeah. How much can you tell me about that?
Yeah, a little bit. Play a character called Otis. Typical character for me is blue singlet.
Yeah.
Beater type singlet.
Yeah.
And yeah, just thug type guy. Otis was a pretty horrible guy. His wife passed away, and he turned to alcohol. The relationship with his son faded, and I don't think he could snap out of it. He just got lost to the drink, which was really sad. And to see all that unfold when we were filming, it hits home pretty hard. So yeah, that one's called Falling Star.
Sounds like a pretty sort of hard-hitting storyline. Was it hard to get into character for it?
No, not at all. Look, I'm
sort of playing a raging alcoholic. I was basically just playing myself.
People come up to me, how long have you been acting for? It's like, dude, like cooking and construction. I'm a cabinet maker by trade. I cook one of the best smash burgers north of the river. It's just me. It's a version of me. I'm coming up to 18 months sober now, but I used to drink hard. You know? So a drunk guy, easy. I've done that. Yeah, right. There's another one that I'm auditioning for coming up was a footy coach. I've coached a lot of footy. These are just different versions of me. And I put myself into that and have a go at it. And these guys reckon I was all right. So yeah, hopefully other people
fit the bill for this one.
Yeah,
right.
Look, I really like it. The vibes on set. I'm learning new things. It's just something I want to pursue. Could be an exit strategy for mining if this place gets built down Whiteman Park, Malaga way, and they're
the new studio that they were talking about. But I heard something about like Tim Minchin and Mark McGowan doing a press conference or something the other day. I haven't really.
Something's been on the cards for quite some time, but it seems like it's moving forward, and they've picked an area for it, which isn't too far from my house. So
that's convenient.
Yeah, anyone in the industry could be in the slingshot if they build such an establishment. Be quite
good. Absolutely. Especially if you've already got the foot in the door and you've got a few notches on your belt and stuff like that.
Yeah, a bit of time in front of the camera, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And what about yourself, Jacob? How did you come on board with this project?
Well, I guess well, obviously I know my good friend here, James, and he gave me the role because of nepotism. But it's sort of just been like the natural progression of what I've been doing, because I've been doing acting since I was young. I started when I was in like year 1 or year 2, it's like 8 or 10.
Yeah, right.
That sort of age. And my teacher, it literally started as my teacher saying, your son's got too much energy, he needs to do something.
Right.
So my kids.
And your parents decided acting.
Yeah, they just put me in a local acting class called Helen O'Grady's.
Yeah.
And just from there, I did a bunch of stuff. I did Perth Youth Theatre. I did ICW Stage Door, and it's sort of just become my passion. And I've done a lot of stage shows and plays and community theatre and all of that. And I want to do film when I grow up. So doing short films is a great way to get into that. And
yeah, absolutely.
So.
And are you finding there's more opportunity here in WA now? Is the industry sort of growing? And
the industry is definitely growing. There's a lot. There's a lot of young people now that are doing things. Especially in theatre, there's a lot of theatre gigs. And I mean, I went on Facebook and I joined a few groups, and I get a post every other day of people that are looking for actors and all this sort of stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity in Perth. Yeah.
So there's a lot of community around it, and people are happy to sort of share leads and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. I mean, we were at the graduation showcase which is what Nothing Special was originally for.
Yeah.
And one of the other guys who was there was an actor. He came up to me. His name is Ricky Anderson. He came up to me and he just shows me an audition for something. He's like, oh, maybe you should go for this. And then so there's a really good community in Perth, and everyone's sort of really supportive of each other. So.
All about networking and stuff like that. And it's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes. Is there much competition at all?
What do you mean by competition?
I suppose like aspiring directors or producers and stuff like that. Are you competing for spots in these film festivals? Do you have an arch nemesis?
I don't know about an arch nemesis.
Is there maybe not that dramatic and stuff like that, but is there?
There's always friendly competition. It's always like people want to see others succeed. People want to see, like, if someone gives you feedback for your film, essentially, as an example. It's not because they don't like your film. It's because they want to see you, do better. They want to. They want you to sort of be the best you can be.
Yeah.
And that is sort of where the competition, I guess you could say, comes from. just from people having so much passion for their craft that they just want they want to spread it, they want to share it, they want people to just love it as much as they do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of get it out there, and I suppose once you put any sort of art form out there for people to critique and stuff like that, you've got to be sort of open to the fact that you're vulnerable, and you're going to get critique whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just work with that and move forward. But I suppose, like you said, if people are critiquing it, at least they're sort of emotionally invested in it enough to critique you. Whereas if somebody just walks away and doesn't say anything, then maybe it wasn't for them, but you can't really take anything from that either, you know.
Nothing is for everyone.
No. But you are getting a bit of attention from some local film festivals and stuff like that, some awards that you've been nominated for, or?
Yeah, of course. So our local one right now is WA Made, which is a massive honour across WA to be included and selected for WA Made.
Yeah.
We're unsure at this point in time whether we've been nominated for any awards. I'm not entirely sure if there's an audience selection at this point in time. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit fresh to the festival scene.
They did only announce their program like a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
So,
so
we're not quite. Yeah,
sitting there because we've known for.
We've got the exclusive.
We James, Sanjay, and I knew for probably about 2 or 3 weeks that we'd been selected for WA Made, but we weren't permitted to share it just yet because obviously the program hadn't come out, and so we were sitting in the car on the way here, and I'm just sitting there like refreshing the WA Made page like every second,
just waiting for it to load up and let you know if you've been selected.
Waiting
so that just means that you've been selected, and that then the general public can buy tickets and go and view it and stuff like that. And then after a certain amount of people have been through and viewed it, then you get nominated if the viewers like what they see.
Yeah, I guess it sort of depends on the festival. Like some of them have a panel of judges that sort of determine it. Others are just audience choice. So some of them you're awarded before you even get to the festival. Some of them it's like, oh, here's the nominees and then we'll select it later. Some of them are, you know, beginning of the festival, they announce the winner. It sort of just depends on the festival. So yeah, we're looking forward to on the 19th of February, I believe it is, seeing our film on the big screen other than our own showcase for the first time, which is awesome. So,
cool.
Yeah.
And you guys have worked together before. I've done a little bit of research, which when I say research is me just basically trolling your social media accounts. But I come across a production or a project called One More Day. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was me and Taylor. It was our first sort of experience working together as director and producer.
Yeah.
So we wrote as part of our studies a short film about a guy who goes through a breakup and then he finds a time machine and is like, oh, I'm gonna go back and get with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Very, very sort of silly story, but that was such a good experience because we like the skills that we had at the time. We just sort of went absolutely to the wall on them. Like we just pushed ourselves as much as we could to try and make something that we were really proud of.
Yeah.
And although we look back on it now and cringe, it's because we've grown. It's because we can look back on it and go, yeah, we did really well on this project, but look at what we've done now, sort of thing. So working on that short film just as sort of as a first experience directing for me and producing for Taylor was such a great jumping off point because we meshed really well together that when it came time to make something else, there was no other option, you know, of who we were going to work with.
I think you pushed yourselves in this one as well. There was a couple of effects and one particular scene, I don't know if we can talk about, that I think you pushed yourself and people haven't seen in a student film or short film for quite some time.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I did notice. I don't want to say too much and stuff. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there was a little bit of CGI. Obviously, you're not working with MCU sort of budgets and stuff like that. But there is some special effects in there and stuff like that, which is kind of cool and sort of a bit of emotion behind it. But I just really respect the fact that guys are making moves here in WA, you know, and you're not sort of, I think WA gets a bit of a stigma about it. Like we're so isolated and so far away from everything and that you've got to go over to the eastern states if you want to do anything and stuff like that. I think it's really cool to see that guys are here making moves and not just sort of sitting around, because everybody sits there and they watch the people on the red carpet and they're like, oh, I'd love to be like them. And you can sit there and talk all you want, but until you go out there and actually do it, you never know, you know, and you guys are doing it. So I really dig that. But anyway, I might just quickly cut to one more song. We'll recap a little bit and then regroup a little bit and then come back for a bit of a chat after that.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Cool. We've got Mountain at My Gates by Foles.
You are listening to IPL Radio.
All right, and we're back. You are listening to The Late Show with Kit Adams, brought to you by IPL Radio. Just continuing our chat with some of the cast and crew from a short film made here in WA, Nothing Special. We have been chatting about it. I don't want to give away too much. I don't think it's giving away too much to answer either. Will there be a sequel? Obviously, you've enjoyed working together so much, and it's definitely an interesting movie. I don't think it's giving away too much to say it's got potential. Is there anything on the cards for it?
Feature film?
Feature film, let's go straight from the short to money.
So, Nothing Special is a really good film, and I'd love to pitch it to you sometime. But there's stuff in the works.
Yeah.
So, not necessarily much we can comment on at this point in time.
No.
But we are planning to sort of, I don't know how to explain it, take it a little bit further.
Yeah.
Expand it.
Expand, yeah. That's pretty much all we can say at this point in time, but yeah.
Yeah,
A
cool.
cinematic universe surrounding Nothing Special.
It's got potential, you know. I was thinking it's got the potential for it, you know. So it depends on how far you just want to go with it, I suppose. But
Yeah.
you definitely seem to have a good time working on this one, and you've definitely produced an interesting little film. What's next for you guys? If not Nothing Special, you've obviously got other projects you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, I know that Taylor and I and Sanjay, who is listening right now, by the way, hi Sanjay,
Sanjay?
we're looking at working on another project together. What that will be, we can't really say right now, but there are sort of a few things that we're looking at, a few things in the works, because we've loved working together with each other, with the people that worked on the film with us, and we want to still foster those relationships and those professional sort of working relationships, and I'm not too sure about what's next for these guys, but I'm sure they can explain.
What have you got coming up, Jacob? Anything on the cards?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything, but I have just gotten a role for a short film. I believe it's going to be called Him. I don't know how much I can share about it, but that'll be a fun film. Got the lead role in that.
Nice.
Sorry, it seems a bit weird.
Humble brag. I say humble brag. There's nothing humble about it.
No, I don't like doing it, but I guess you got to say it, really. But other than that, no, I'm going back to uni. I'm doing acting this year. Last year I did classical voice. This year I'm doing acting. So that's probably going to take up most of my time. See if I can do some short films on the side. Try and get a job. But yeah, other than that, no. I've just got.
And where would you say is a good place for people to start? You're going back to uni. Is that to sort of study the arts, to study acting and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, well, I go to Whopper, so that's like it's an.
I got Whopper.
I go to Whopper.
No, I'm not
he's
saying it
flexing.
like it's. Oh, I go to Whopper. You know?
Jacks.
Good burgers. No, are we sponsored? No, but yeah. So Whopper's a performing arts school in Perth. And so they do all sorts of stuff. They do musical theatre, but that's sort of like a post graduation type thing where you go just to sort of refine your skills. I mean, there's tons of places you can go. I mean, you can go if you're younger, you can go to there's places like Perth Youth Theatre and Helena Grady's and Stage Door and ICW, all these places which do education and they're just a fun place to send your kids and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and they can learn a thing or two about acting, put on a show, and then there's other things. You can go to community theatre, you can audition for community theatre. There's a lot of groups that just putting on shows and stuff that you can get involved with, and yeah, I mean, yeah, there's tons of stuff if you want to get into it.
Or you can just have the look.
Yeah,
just got to have the
You can
right
just
look.
look like a
I was
thug,
going to say, or you can do it Kai's way and
Yeah.
just have the right look for the right roles and stuff like that. But yeah, this movie had, from what I've seen, some really good production value on it and stuff like that. For a sort of short film made in rural WA as a sort of student film, this thing just wasn't shot on an iPhone 6 or something, you know?
Yes, it was.
That's the secret. But no, and you mentioned Sanjay. I believe he had a big role to play in this.
Yeah, James and I cannot say enough about Sanjay. He Lord and Savior himself. He was working so tirelessly from the day that we pitched to make this film number one, even though he was working on 2 or 3 other projects, personal and through, our educational facility at the time, and he still put his A game in like 100%.
Yeah.
And like I said before, heading into our final day, it's final due date. We're about to show it to the executive producer, and just get the full, you're good to go, good to show it, showcase. And he walks in and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm blasted. I haven't slept." So he, and when he says he hasn't slept, I'm talking like was on the computer all night for like the last 3 days, has not slept a wink.
Wow.
Walks
Dedicated
in,
to his craft.
Yeah, walks in with like a Pepsi. He's like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Hey,
and
guys.
he's like, "Hey guys, here's this
Wow.
film that I've got. Yeah, I've been working on it a little bit." And James can probably expand on it a little bit more. He worked with Sanjay a little bit more than I did, but
Yeah,
wow.
working with him on sort of the soundtrack and stuff after we'd shot, he'd obviously done an amazing job on set as our on-set recorder.
Yep.
But his soundtrack stuff, his post sound, that's his bread and butter. That's what he loves doing.
Yep.
And just sort of being able to sit down with him and listen to him sort of, construct a musical piece, and then listen to feedback and deliberate with me about what, like, oh, it would sound better if we put this note here, or if this chord here creates that sort of dissonance that, informs this emotional reaction to the story. Like, just being able to sort of have these conversations with him, and he was so open to it for the whole process, and he was so switched on at all times. He knew what he was doing, and he knew that everything that he was doing was sort of helping to sell our story and to drive our story forward. It was so good to work with him.
It's also
Yeah,
worth noting that he did like a 5-person job on set. He was our
Really?
only audio guy, which obviously you usually have a lot more than one person helping do audio, and he was just such a legend.
Yep.
A lot of audio guys tend to get a bit lazy towards the end, and they go, "You know what, take, done. I'm not going to double check that. That's fine." But Sanjay made sure bit for bit that every bit was perfect. He goes, "Okay, sorry, nope, stop, plane. Gotta stop for that." But yeah, he was so dedicated to the craft of it, and making sure it actually came out to be a good product, and that was what mattered so much to us. It wasn't a student film to him, it was dedication and passion, and that's what made it so amazing.
I think that definitely shows through as well, like I was saying, with the production quality of it, and it's definitely all there. It sort of feels like big budget movie shot in a small town, just based on the sort of production quality of it and stuff, So, and plans to work with Sanjay again in the future.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not letting go of that guy.
Yeah, right.
I will
You got
grapple him.
booked in. Locked
He's
down.
stuck, whether he likes it or not.
He's listening
Yeah,
to this right
cool.
now, and he's like, "Oh damn," he feels threatened.
And any future projects you're producing and stuff that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, I'm working on a few projects outside of the anything that we're currently working on for Nothing Special, obviously promotions and stuff like that.
Yep.
I've got a few mates of mine that have just requested I help assist produce with them. I've got a horror film going on at the moment, which is very vastly different from what I've ever worked on with James.
Really?
And obviously anything producing wise professional I've ever done, which has been with James. I'm used to the sci-fi, crazy kid goes on a wild adventure sort of thing. So it's a bit odd stepping into a very dark sort of industry area. But it's very refreshing, to be honest. Working with a different crew as well is very you learn a lot between each crew. We got so lucky with the crew that we had that it can be quite difficult from time to time to get attention from people. You're sending out email after email after email, and you're not getting any response at all.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, these guys, I got so lucky with them, like instantly, especially from Kai. I'd just immediately get a response, like, I'd be like, "Hey, are you doing this, this, and this?" He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm working this day, but I'm free this day. Can we please sort out this, this, and this?" And we molded with everyone so well.
Yeah.
It worked so amazingly. But yeah, working on a few different things at the moment, and yeah.
And is there many people that, because you obviously work behind the camera, you're the producer and stuff like that. Has that always been your goal in the entertainment industry, to go in as a producer? And
absolutely not, actually. I sort of heading into film school, as most people do, I was like, yeah, I want to direct.
Yeah.
And I went into my first project, and unfortunately I sort of heading into film school was very insecure about myself. And so I didn't put myself out there enough, and people didn't really know me. So all the directing jobs were taken. And our lecturer at the time was like, okay, we need a producer for this position. I was like, God damn it, like, fine, I'll take it up. And I did it. I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun.
Yeah,
and
right.
like, you know, a lot of people tend to not really enjoy it. But then I did it on one more day, and I was like, nah, this is where I'm meant to be. And I see what James does. I'm like, I'm okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
But I mean, producing and stuff, it sort of comes down to you to organise it all, and you're responsible for everything. And it's the producer that gets to all the power in the end, isn't it? Like, you always hear like the executive producers and stuff, and then sort of the director has control of the story. So
yeah, it's definitely a 50-50 balance. So where I have, you know, legal control over everything, there's also that. That's right, Jake.
I can sink the ship.
just flexing, just in case.
I own you, Jake.
Don't
But
try
anyway.
anything.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a 50-50 balance, and you know, I feel there are people that definitely play with that, and they go, oh well, I'm going to hold this over your head. I'm producer, I can fire you at any time, and that just doesn't work. you know, taking it from that direction is so, you know, it just makes people feel like they can't come to you with things. And when we went into this, like I said, zero bullying policy, and being able to work with James as 2 leaders and with Sanjay as 3 leaders, sorry, rather than producer, director, associate, like, it worked so well. Obviously he has more creative control than I do, but I also I'm able to look at the script and go, this just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or in terms of sales, I go, this is telling the wrong message. This, you know, this is going towards that demographic that won't sell. So I still do have a bit of creative control, but it's more so just sort of building off of James's brilliance, which is sort of what the fun part of it is. I don't have to do the, you know, terrible up till 3 a.m., you know, Taika Waititi, I'm just going to close the laptop and leave it for later sort of thing. I sort of just get to bounce off of his, you know, somehow he gets these ideas out of his brain. I'm like, that's actually really cool. But yeah, it can be a little bit scary at times knowing that, like, if there's an issue, I'm sort of the contact. But it's been really refreshing to sort of, you know, as I said, I came into uni being so insecure of myself and not sure of, you know, who I am, and doing one more day and nothing special has developed me as a person. And I feel like now I can really stand up for my crew, you know. There's been the rare occasion where I've been like, you know, that's not fair, don't say that to my crew, that's really irresponsible of you. Let's just move on. You get that? But if I see it again, we're gonna have to have a chat. Which I'm
You're able
comfortable.
to be sort of professional and very sort of stern when it's necessary.
It was sort of what James said, building that balance between stern but also being someone approachable.
Yeah.
I hope at least to these guys, obviously I'm not on the other side of it, but I hope that I've been an approachable figure on this set.
Well,
I
think just to add on to praising you two, the really great thing about these guys is that, you know, they understand at the end of the day, this whole thing, no matter who you are, whether you're the director or the producer, it is a team effort.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that was really common on our set was collaboration. I mean, everyone got a say. I mean, if you didn't like the way something was going, you could speak up and pretty much change. I remember there was a scene where I wasn't liking the way it was going. I didn't like where I was sitting, and I was like, James, I don't think it's going to work if I'm sitting. Could I stand? And he was like, oh yeah, let's do it standing. And, you know, and that feels really good when you're just able to sort of throw an idea out there and it gets chucked out.
People appreciate your input instead of just dismissing it and stuff like that.
And it's not just me being the prima donna lead actor asking for things. It's things like, you know, the camera operators, if they wanted a specific angle, they'd be like, James, can we get this angle? Can we try this? And it happened. And you know, Taylor was always open to stuff. If you wanted to do something, she wouldn't be like, no, we don't have time. She'd sort of be like, oh well, let's see if we can make it happen. And it was always Dylan that said, no, you can't have time. That's his job.
He's
I like him for that.
He's going to be so mad at you when he hears you say that, bro.
He was the buzzkill.
So, and he was the one that took your watch and phone. Yeah,
so he was my first AD. He was the person that was responsible for keeping us on time, on schedule.
Yeah.
And he stressed about all the things that I shouldn't have to, you know, on set. Like I could focus on getting a good performance or a good shot out of something, whereas he was just constantly looking at his watch and going, come on, James. Come on, not another take. Come on.
Yeah,
Dylan
right.
rocked up and they introduced him as the first AD, and I'm like, "What's first AD? He's some camera dude, is he?"
Right.
Yeah. And we're pushing through, and we're going through the scenes, and then my turn had come up to shine, and then Dylan would go, "No, we don't need this scene. Get rid of that." And I'm, "Oi, stop! Stop cutting my scenes!
Stop cutting my scenes."
I didn't realise he was like a big deal.
Yeah, right.
Who's this camera dude just keeps
Keeps
chopping
on-
me out of this? And I bailed him up, and I said, "Oi, stop!" And then the camera dude's looking at me going, you don't say that. I was like, yeah, well, all good.
Oh, well, that's it. But sounds like a really good work environment and stuff. And you were talking about different demographics and stuff before. Is it hard these days with sort of cancel culture not to offend anybody when writing and also come up with an original story that isn't gonna put anybody out of joint? Or
in terms of sort of cancel culture and everything like that, in my opinion, as long as you're not a bad person, typically it's not hard to make a film that won't be taken in the wrong way.
Yeah.
You'll always get your critics that take it in oh, well, that's a demotion of women because she's wearing something like that, which obviously is valid in some cases. I'm a very strong feminist. I understand that. But there's always going to be people that look into, things that are just way too deep sometimes. But to be honest, it's as long as you are looking at it from an objective perspective when you're writing it, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And if you manage to get to the end product and there is something, maybe you should look at the way you are writing before you reach that point.
Right.
When we were in the writing process, it started as this this thing that was so different to what we have now. And what was so great is we had 3 different people from 3 different backgrounds who knew 3 different things. And obviously being the only girl in the group, I was able to look at it from my female perspective and go, hey, this isn't working. This needs to be adjusted. James could look at it from his perspective and go, yeah, but that also doesn't work. And perspective is so incredibly important, and getting people on that are objective to it is really important. You can't go wrong if you've got too many views on it. Like in terms of if you've got a lot of people looking at it, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And if you do, again, maybe you need to sort of be looking at your own ideologies and how they're leaking into the script, in my personal opinion. But
right. Also, you don't want to make it seem like it's been just through 1,000 focus group sort of thing, and everything just sort of edgy has been chopped out of it and stuff. And what about you boys? Have you ever sort of come across a role or something that's been presented to you that you haven't wanted to walk that line? It was a little bit too edgy for you, or?
I don't know. I don't see it as that sort of thing from an actor's perspective. I think being an actor, it's your job to sort of do whatever's presented for you. And I think a lot of fun comes out of playing those roles that are, a bit off and a bit edgy. I know this man's played some pretty sour characters, and I have too in some plays. And it's not a matter of being worried about being cancelled. It's not you. You're reading the lines that are on the page.
Just helping tell a story.
Yeah, you're playing the character that's in the story, and as long as you don't, you're not actually that horrid of a person, I don't think there's anything to worry about, And at the end of the day, it's fun. It's fun being an asshole. It's fun. It's
I was
fun.
actually going to ask, is it a bit more fun? Can you have a bit more fun with it? Like,
it's great. It's a great time,
I think I identify more with Jafar in the Aladdin story and stuff like that, sometimes a little bit more of the villain and stuff, no, it sounds like good fun. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, the talent here in WA. Is there much talent coming up here in WA?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. We worked with such a sort of diverse cast and crew in terms of sort of their experience with the film industry in Perth, and their sort of what they've done, what they've been through,
and guys that sort of stay here in WA and instead of going over to the eastern states and sort of chasing that.
And even people that have just, they've got their starts in different places. So, not everyone that we've worked with went to film school, for instance. Some of them just sort of picked up a camera and started shooting, and now look at them, they're working on this thing, they're doing visual effects, or they're doing color grade, or they're editing, and they've been through a different institution to the one that we have. And just sort of being able to meet with these people through outside means and going, hey, I've got this project. I know that you like working on X sort of projects. Would you like to come and work on this one? They go, yeah, sure. And then, you know, they bring on all of their knowledge, all of their experience that they've had throughout their whole time, sort of
right.
as a filmmaker, young as they may be. Or, you know, we had a really experienced stunt coordinator come on and just sort of just straight up go, this won't work, this won't work, this will do. Here's the choreography, go for it. Just being able to work with such a diverse range of experience levels, and seeing how much talent is in all of those different levels of experience, like it's crazy. And even people that we didn't work with on this film, like people that we know, are just so talented and so passionate about what they do. And people make stuff, and you know, sometimes it's not as good as they want it to be, but the thing is they learn from it and they keep going, and then they make something amazing afterwards. And that's what I admire about a lot of the people in Perth, is just their drive.
Who's your sort of main inspirations and stuff? Is it like the Quentin Tarantinos and stuff that you want to be like? Or?
Honestly, my favorite movie's WALL-E. Like, you know, the little robot, robot guy?
Yeah. WALL-E.
Yeah, that guy. So, like, Tarantino stuff is all well and good, but for me, I love like just ordinary stories with like extraordinary characters or extraordinary worlds. So, WALL-E,
I think
for
that's
example,
what Walt Disney said was one of the keys, is you can tell a really simple story, but it's about the characters.
Yeah, exactly.
People got to fall in love with the
exactly.
characters.
So we've got, like, in our film, for instance, you know, we've got this sort of fantastical world. It's superheroes. It's you know, big city. It's small town. But at the heart of it, it's about a kid and his dad.
Father-son relationship.
You know, father-son relationship, coming of age, finding yourself. And you could tell that story a million different ways.
Yeah.
But the way that we've gone about it is we've you know, it's so simple, but you just you read between the lines. The subtext just comes through because you see like this big bombastic superhero stuff, which you used to. You see it all the time, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. So this means that means this, and then you relate to it more, and you sort of identify with that message, even stronger than you would have.
And so, was it always sort of director path for you?
No, actually, no. So I got my start as an editor.
Right.
Yeah. So I started way back in high school, just sort of picked up Premiere Pro and just started making stuff.
Yeah.
Started editing stuff. My mate had a camera and he shot stuff, and we sort of cut it together, and it was quite fun. And then I got you know, professional work doing corporate stuff, like working with construction sites and real estate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I went to film school, and they were like, oh, you can either sort of do post-production or you can do production.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've already got a job in post-production, and I sort of, not that I'm, you know, amazing, but I know how to use it. And I felt that I would have a much better time at this university and get a lot more out of it if I did something that I wasn't comfortable with.
Yeah, diversify a little bit, get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought I'd, you know, get behind the camera, do a bit of camera work, and then just sort of through a series of different events, I found myself directing, and just sort of fell in love with it. Just sort of fell in love with the story, and being able to sort of use my experience across different, like all the different sort of departments that I'd already worked on.
Yeah.
And sort of be able to visualize a bigger picture from sort of day one, and help talk to people about, you know, the stuff that they're good at. They're really good at it. I know a little bit, so I can talk to them about it, but just being able to discuss with them the things that they know already, was just such a huge help. And then sort of seeing it all come together was just so cathartic for me. I was like, I got to do this again.
And why WALL-E? Was it was it the director, or was it the production value, or just the storyline?
Story.
Yeah,
it's just such a simple story about a guy that meets a girl.
Yeah,
you know, there's all this stuff about their robots and they're in space and they're bringing a plant back, but it's about a guy that meets a girl. You know,
it's a robot that meets a robot girl.
It's a robot boy that meets a robot girl, but like
robots matter too. They have feelings.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, it's sort of like everything that I aspire to do. It's such a simple story at its heart, and it's got so much heart. That is the reason why I love it so much. Is just, you know, the big, massive, throbbing heart that it's got.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's so simple yet so extravagant at the same time. Yeah,
cool. So that's sort of where you draw a bit of inspiration from and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, right. And what about yourselves, boys? Inspiration, who do you sort of look to as someone that you want to emulate in the industry?
Well, Danny Trejo.
Oh, right. Yep.
Look, he was, from what I understand, he was in prison for quite some time. He got out of prison
Really?
and he started working on sets, lugging stuff around and whatnot. And they needed a bad guy. They looked over at him. Never done any acting.
He looks the
before,
part.
and,
Yeah.
And he got into it. And he's managed to make a very successful name for himself and
Wow.
turn his life around, clean and sober, all that type of stuff, and got into heaps of movies. So
Yeah.
I sort of look at that. He was mature age when he got into it.
Yep.
Come from a pretty rough background.
Yep.
And just right place, right time. But he's definitely inspiration.
Yeah, for
Other than
sure.
that, Joe Dirt.
Someone that Joe Dirt.
It's about
Yeah,
a guy and a
cool.
girl.
Someone you can sort of identify with. And what about yourself, Jacob?
Me, well, I don't know. I've got weird inspirations.
That's all right.
I sort of I don't know. I don't want to be like anybody else because
Yeah.
you
You still want to be individual and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but who do you sort of
course.
admire the style of?
Of course. Well, I mean, I say that.
Okay.
I was going to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely inspired by people. I mean, Giancarlo Esposito. He's a great actor. Really look up to him. Guys like Peter Capaldi and Bryan Cranston. Some really just fantastic actors out there. So yeah, I mean, really just anyone who's good. Anyone who's
right.
good inspired. Guy Kasem. I mean, I sort of just get inspiration from everywhere. I look at a film and I look at someone who acts and I go, oh, I wonder what it'd be like if I did that. And there's so much out there. There's so many great actors.
What's the dream role for you?
The dream role. Oh,
Like,
There's
if
one
you could
kid called
redo
Jack.
any story.
there's this one kid called Jack.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's probably a bit weird, but I have always really wanted to do the Joker from
All
Batman.
right.
That's a
Yeah.
role I've always really wanted to do. I've always really been into the comics and that sort of stuff, and I like Heath Ledger a lot and Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson. They're really great actors. More inspiration. There's inspiration everywhere, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess that would be the dream role for me. Would be the Joker. But we've had
Something that you
enough.
can really sort of do a deep dive into and
Yeah.
immerse yourself in the character.
Well, he's an interesting character. I mean, you don't want to say that about a crazy psychopath, but he's very interesting. Like the mind of it. Like
Yeah.
you can really sort of dive into it. Obviously, there's always the question of the ideology that he has, and there's all this sort of stuff, and you can really take it some places. And there have been people who have taken it some places. I believe that I have a place that I would take it that's different.
Unique take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Stuff like that. So yeah, he'd be a fun character, and he'd just be fun. You get
Yeah.
to laugh for half of the film.
Anybody that you'd love to work with to be sort of a lead opposite to?
Kai Kasam.
Tick that one off the bucket list. Yep.
I guess the one that I really want is Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
But
right.
I doubt that'll ever happen. But James marking it down,
Never
making
know.
sure the next film's
Next
got him.
movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely the guy I would love to work with.
Yeah.
Kai,
What about
any
yourself,
thoughts
Kai?
Interesting question. I haven't really thought about that.
No.
Yeah, look, I love Aussie movies.
Yep.
So yeah, just hopefully one day get into something like that. I suppose as a kid, and this is a pretty good story, I suppose. I wanted to be like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
I was a black belt at the age of 13.
Yeah, right.
And I did a
Doing the
little-
splits and stuff like that.
Working on it, yeah.
Working on it.
A couple of milk crates and that. You used to time yourself
Yep.
up to the trampoline and all these sort of stunts and stuff like that. But it was never a reality.
Yep.
Yeah, I was always, mum and dad never encouraged it because, who knows an actor? How are you going to be an actor?
Yeah.
Like you say, we're in WA.
Yep.
How are you going to get into all that? And now I've been in a movie that has a bit of biffo in it, if you like. So at 40 years of age, so
Yeah.
at 12, 13, it's all I wanted, and just who's going to be an actor? How are you going to be an actor? So look, if it's something that you're into, embrace it, push through, go for it, and support someone that wants to have a crack at something because
Yeah.
it can be done. Even at the age of 40, getting into it and doing movies. Imagine if I did get that support and go through it and pursue it myself. If it's
Yeah.
really your passion, have a crack at it, go for it.
Yeah,
You never
absolutely.
know what can happen. It's never too late either.
Yeah, cool. And Yeah. What about yourself, Taylor? Is there any big projects that you'd love to sort of take on and produce?
Oh, I have a list,
Really?
like extensive
Yep.
list. I'm someone who sort of grew up. You know, one of the biggest things that I bonded with my dad over was going to the movies. So
Yeah, right.
when I was younger, my parents were absolutely amazing. They let me just sort of experiment with what I wanted to, and when you know, even heading into the age that I am now, as James knows, he knows me very closely. Fictional characters to me are just such a massive part of my like internal monologue.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I ever, I doubt that I ever will because you know, they keep going, but I probably will just miss it, and then they'll make another. What is it? The fourth trilogy of Spider-Man.
Oh,
I
right.
probably
Yeah,
won't
nice,
make
nice.
it, but I'd love to make a Spider-Man movie. As
Yeah,
of recently, I'd
cool.
love to make a Star Wars movie.
Really?
Me
Yeah.
too.
Like
Yeah,
so
right.
bad.
Yeah.
I love Adam Driver, but I also love John Favreau.
Yeah.
I think his creative genius is very much reflected, not dissimilar to the way James works, and I would love to see, you know, even down to you know, talent like Andrew Garfield. Tick Tick Boom and his performance in Tick Tick Boom changed my life. Like it
Really?
altered my life pattern. It
Wow.
yeah, it, you know, performances and creations and characters are what drive my everyday life, you know. As childish as it seems, when I look at a situation, I go, "Oh, like what would Anakin do?" Like, you know,
Yeah, right.
you know, that's
He's the best inspiration.
Storm the temple with a
Like,
lightsaber.
yeah, but like,
Attack the children.
yeah, I'm very new to the Star Wars stuff, and that was the first name that came to mind. Probably not the best, you know, kill a bunch
Really?
of kids,
Maybe
but
Luke.
How can you be new to the Star Wars
But
stuff?
yeah,
I hate sand. It's
yeah,
gross.
but yeah, I think staying childish in your adulthood is one of the biggest things a creator can have, and
Yeah.
you know, if it means taking it really far. And you know, I don't have many friends in real life. Like they're all in this room, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Sanjay.
even oh yeah, Sanjay, please, I'm so sorry.
Didn't make the cut, mate.
I'm so sorry. No, Sanjay is here in spirit. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, fictional characters and learning to have them in your everyday life is a massive part of being a creative. Looking at something, better example is probably Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, looking at a situation and going, how would Peter Parker approach this? You know, it
Yeah.
helps you become a person that can not only create, but like,
Keep that imagination
Yeah.
and embrace it instead of. I think everybody has that when they're kids and stuff, but as you grow older, you get shut down and stuff like that. And like you said, what do you want to do being an actor in WA and stuff like that? Especially in an era where we were growing up, where boys went out and played football and stuff like that. You know, so yeah, keeping that imagination and keeping, like you said, even fictional characters and monologues from fictional characters and stuff, they can have a big impact and stuff. And I grew up watching a lot of TV. A lot of my sort of life lessons and morals come from watching fictional characters as well. So I completely relate.
yeah, exactly. It's you know, it's something that if there's one message I have to specifically young girls, there's gonna be people who tell you, you know, being childish like that, you'll never get anywhere being that childish, or especially being a girl who likes, you know, superheroes and, you know, typically masculine things. There will be people who say you like, especially as a girl, will never get that far. You'll never be on the red carpet. You'll never meet those sorts of people.
Yeah.
It's complete BS.
Yeah.
You get to decide where you go, and choosing a life of fiction to me is better than choosing a job I'll never be happy in. You know, I'd rather be living out of a dumpster and, you know,
Yeah.
having a comic book in my hands
Yeah.
than, you know,
Chasing
dead
that
end.
dream instead of just submitting to the day-to-day sort
Exactly.
of 9 to 5 job.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. I dig that. All right, I might just go to one more song. I think I need to play a couple of words from our sponsors, and then we'll come back and we might look at wrapping it up. Any song requests? Anything? This always works well when I do it live on the air. Just quick,
Oh,
think of a
dude.
song
Put
for
us
me.
on the.
If
put us on the
Sanjay
spot.
was here right now.
Caroline.
Sweet Caroline.
Oh,
All
that's a
right.
good one.
Oh, of course you would, Jake.
I love it. It's a good song.
Surely we've got that in the system.
Neil Diamond for you.
This is just giving me flashbacks.
Really?
Chicken.
I'm gonna see. Here
This
we
is
go.
Jacob's Music Taste coming at you live from IPL Radio.
Nailed it.
You are listening to IPL Radio.
All right, a little bit of Danger Zone fading out there by Kenny Loggins from the original Top Gun soundtrack. Was just talking, apparently these guys bonded over the new Maverick movie a little bit on set. But we were also just talking during the break about editing it down to, because it fits into the short film category, it had to be 15 minutes, no longer.
Yeah, so the total runtime of the film came in at about like 15 minutes 30, 50 minutes 40.
Yeah.
Not including the credits.
Yeah.
And that was that was like a really strict sort of, runtime that we had to adhere to. And we wrote the script, and in screenwriting terms, one page usually equals 1 minute of screen time.
Oh, right.
So our script was pretty much 15 pages bang on, and we were like, cool, we're fine.
Yeah.
We were not fine.
We're not fine.
And when we came, when our amazing editor Meg had like assembled the very first sort of, cut of all the footage.
Yeah.
We were sitting at a runtime of about 25 minutes, and we were
wow.
We were like, oh yeah, that's
I
good.
did say it feels like you've crammed a lot into that 15 minutes.
Yeah.
How did you cut away 10 minutes of film?
Yeah. So we essentially, throughout the sort of the second 3 months of our making of the film, myself and Meg sort of sat down, and every session that we had, we'd work out what bits of the film didn't add to the overall impact, or like in certain cases, when you're making any film, you might end up saying the same thing twice essentially, or you do a lot of telling but not showing, when instead you should be doing showing, not tell. So Meg was really good in that aspect. She was really sort of on the ball and always coming at me with new ideas and going, hey James, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if we got rid of this scene? What if we put this scene here instead of that? And just being able to work with her on sort of that sort of thing was like amazing. And then being able to hand that footage that we got over to the rest of our post-production team, which was just 2 people. There was Sanj that we've already talked about, and then there was our color grader and visual effects guy, Caleb Weeks. He just gave the film a soul. Yeah. Like Meg and I, we worked really hard to unearth the sort of heart of it, and by making it a 15-minute film, you go from thing to thing to thing. But the beauty of the short film is that it is short, and by the end of it, sure, you go, oh, that was only 15 minutes, but there's no stone that's been left like not unturned.
Yeah,
is that the saying? I don't know.
You got this, buddy.
Yeah, but we there were no loose ends. We'd wrapped up everything.
Yeah.
And it was told in such a way that people related to it, and they didn't think that it dragged on too long. Or it was
were there any scenes that you sort of had to cut to get it in under 15 minutes that you really struggled to let go of?
There was nothing really that I struggled to let go of. There was the biggest scene that we cut was just sort of Jack and Jim outside the house having a bit of a chat. And Jim was outside. He wasn't in his sort of high-vis stuff, so it was a nice break from that. But it didn't really add much to the story beyond Jack coming home.
Yeah,
so,
right.
You can do that with Jack just being at home. You go, oh, he's come home, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Showed a little bit of Jim wasn't real happy that he was in the scrap. He sort of thought about it, and he's kind of like, well, I've got this afternoon, don't I?
And without saying too much, guys, because obviously there's only the preview out at the moment, so without giving away too much, was there any scenes that you guys feel that you'd sort of put a lot of effort into and didn't make it into the final cut?
Not so much a lot of effort. A lot of effort was put into everything, and I trust that these guys know what they're doing, and the finished product is fantastic. I'm over the moon with it. But I'll wear a couple of different uniforms or costumes, I should say, throughout the movie, and one of them was cut out a little bit, but that's cool. Like I say, these guys know what they're doing, and the finished product is just spot on. Anything you...
Well, I have one. I'm not sure if I can say it because I think it's literally the main plot point of the entire film. So I don't think
maybe don't give away that bit.
I don't think I can say it, but it was a line where it's not that it's like a big, really important line. Otherwise, it wouldn't have got cut. But it was just like just a little line that I noticed was gone after a while, and it was just me sort of reiterating like the main thing. That sort of So I gotta consult my producer here, so I don't get shot.
About to get assassinated before you could say anything.
But it was just a line like talking about one of the main plot points. It was just reiterating something, and it was just like a declarative statement. And I walk into the pub and say it, and it just wasn't there, and it was quite. And then I sort of realized, wait, that whole kind of scene, which was quite big, and we had like a little bit of like a. It was like a little bit of almost like a slapstick kind of scene that we filmed with like people coming in and coming out, and it just never even made it into the film, and I didn't notice it for the longest time. And that's all the credit to these guys in the post-production crew. I mean, you couldn't tell. And
How many hours of filming do you reckon you did sort of all together? Because I imagine going out to Pingelly, you want to do more than you have to, so you can cut it away and not have to do reshoots.
I mean, in terms of actual like hours, there were, I think most of the days averaged out at around 10 hours.
Yeah,
there were a couple that went to 12.
Yeah.
But most of them, it was a pretty full on sort of 5 days. You know, we made the most of the time that we had there, so that when we got back, we didn't need to, you know, go back to Pingelly unless something catastrophic had happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we were really good with that because, you know, as soon as we got back, we were like, all right, backups. We knew some people. One guy ran an IT company. We went up to him. We were like, please, and he was like, yeah, all right. So
how much actual film like did we have, like in terms of time? Was it like 8 hours or like how long?
I'm not sure in terms of time, but I know that we had almost 4 terabytes worth of just raw footage.
Right.
That sounds like a lot of footage to filter through and come up and
It
just
was,
select only
yeah.
15 minutes out of.
I may be paying for Meg's therapy for the next
Yeah, right.
Especially with the sorry Meg, because we didn't have a script supervisor on set, which turned out to be completely fine. But it just meant that Meg didn't have any notes to work off of other than James's memory.
Oh,
so
right.
in the audio, every 2 minutes, it was just, sorry Meg's not going to like this. Like, you know, so.
Yeah,
But
right.
she pulled through and she did
She was
such an
amazing.
amazing job.
Yeah,
And,
right.
Yeah,
Good
it was just so good to sort of have a team, not only in pre-production, not only in production, but in post-production,
Yeah.
who again believed in the story and believed that what they brought was so unique that they could give it their all.
Yeah.
And even learn new skills. So our visual effects guy, Calum, he actually, he'd done a little bit of After Effects work here and there, but this was sort of the biggest thing that he'd taken on.
Yeah, right.
He's an absolute whiz at color grading. He's so good. But yeah, visual effects is not his sort of, his comfort zone. So for him to be able to just go, yeah, right, I can give it a shot, and then, come out with it and it being as sort of good as it is for the project that we've got was just so amazing. And then, yeah, just seeing it all come together at the end was so nice.
Yeah, cool. And obviously, I don't want to give away any spoilers and stuff like that, but when can people see it so I don't have to worry about spoilers anymore?
Awesome. So, obviously we've got WO Made coming up.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity for people to go and see it on the 19th of February.
So people can buy
Um,
tickets and go and view
yeah.
that along with some other shorts and stuff like that, and then vote on it as well?
I believe so. I wouldn't quote
Yeah,
me on it,
yeah.
but that's typically what happens. I would double check the WA Made program just to make sure I've got the right day.
Yep.
But yeah, WA Made is open, and a sort of a little official announcement sort of thing. There will be a screening later in the year.
Yeah.
Specifically for Nothing Special. So yeah, we'll just see how we go.
And
with
when's
that one.
the Cairns Film Fest?
That one has already sort of come and gone. It was
Oh,
very
right.
it was very odd. We only got notified like the day of.
Yeah.
Which was a bit weird.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
still
that
great. It was still great
it was
to find out.
No, it was
Yeah.
amazing to find out. I
no
mean,
time to get ready
Yeah,
for
it was like,
let
it was
everybody
like,
know
oh,
before.
congratulations, you're in Cairns. We're like, oh my gosh. And they're like, congratulations, it's tonight. And we were like, wait, what?
Wait, plane.
Congratulations, you were in Cairns.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
When I say
Super
weird,
Yeah.
when I say weird, I definitely mean like surreal.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it
absolutely.
was a moment where sort of James and I were like, wait,
Because that was
wait,
our
wait.
first like actual festival that we've gotten into as filmmakers. That was our first thing that we've put our project forwards for, and the first selection that we've got, not only for this project but just in general. And it's such a sort of high caliber festival as that one, and we're like, whoa.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah, a lot of big name stars and directors and producers and stuff go there, so that's cool. And so festivals? Is there like a festival season and you try and sort of hit as many as you can and then...
It's obviously each festival has their own deadlines, and you aim for whatever festivals you want to go to. I've got a list of them at home. But yeah, it's a bit long. But yeah, there isn't necessarily a season. They all sort of...
Is it just like for a year, then you can hit all the festivals in one sort of year and then...
To some degree, obviously a lot of them are sort of like, has to be made past 2022, has to be made past 2023. So we're able to apply it to most festivals for the next year. It's kind of hard. A lot of them, some of them are monthly, most of them are yearly. But yeah, it just sort of depends on the festival, to be honest. Like, I know some really old films that are still going through the circuit.
Yeah, right.
You know, because some of them don't have a time limit. You know, we got an invite to a sci-fi one that was like, had to be made past 2002. I was like, wow. Great. You know, films like Zathura and stuff could be... When was Zathura made? Damn, I might not be as knowledgeable as I think, but you know, it's films
just
like that.
Just a little random pop trivia for you.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no necessary sort of deadline for them. It's more so festival specific. So
yeah. And sort of after that, after people have had the chance to go and see it at these different festivals and stuff like that, where do you release it after that?
We're not too sure where we're going to release it just yet. We know that we would like a screening to, you know, not only to sort of finish the film with a bang, but also a lot of people in our cast and crew didn't get to come see it on Showcase night.
Right.
And it would be a really amazing opportunity to be able to have these guys' parents and stuff come along. Showcase sold out so quickly. It was insane. You know, we only just barely got tickets for the cast.
Wow.
So
far out.
On to my house. Pay for $20. I'll put it on at my house.
$20 or $20
$20
each.
Yeah,
just do a little bootleg viewings and stuff.
Yeah. I've got it on Google. Yeah. Good barbecue.
But yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that's mostly going to be sort of for like you know, Showcase was so emotional. I remember when it finished, we all just had tears running down our face.
Such an emotional, like,
right.
But yeah, that'll primarily be sort of the public can finally all come together and see what these guys have worked so beautifully on. You know, obviously I managed
Us guys, you too.
You know,
I feel the love.
Obviously, I manage the social media, and the overwhelming amount of support from Kai's friends, Jacob's friends, Chris's friends, like everyone coming together and saying, "Where can I see this? Where can I see this?" That's going to be an opportunity for them, and just, you know, if anyone wants to come see it in WA, follow the Nothing Special film pages, and we'll be there.
Is there much to, obviously, social media plays such a big impact in promoting stuff now. Is it something you've got to stay on top of?
100%.
Yeah?
So, you know, with a lot of content creators, you know, you're really high-end, you know, YouTubers or, you know, social media influencers and stuff like that, they tend to be posting between 3 to 4 times a week.
Right.
Which we did 2 times a week when the film was first coming up. It sort of lagged a little bit in the new year. I sort of put everyone on a mandated break because we'd been working so hard. But yeah, if you don't constantly promote, re-promote, reproduce, stuff like that, your audience will disappear simply because you'll disappear from the algorithm. Like, you won't be there anymore.
The algorithms,
But yeah, it's something that you know, in the past few weeks, luckily we've been supported by the festivals, so we've had announcements to put up and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff that's going to be coming in the next few weeks in terms of sneak peeks and crew bios and stuff like that.
What about blooper reels and stuff? You've got all that extra footage that didn't make it in. Was there many bloopers and stuff on set? No mistakes. It's a professional crew right here.
Single take every
just
single
one
shot.
and done.
But yeah, there is maybe a blooper reel. in the
Yeah?
making, yeah, maybe.
Oh, cool. That's something to look forward to.
Exclusive.
It's nothing special, man. Like, you know. But yeah. There'll be a lot of
And
content.
so there is a Facebook page for Nothing Special, specifically for that. But you've also got your own Facebook pages and stuff where you will be promoting upcoming projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, so for me personally, my Instagram is my personal sort of forte, which is behind the Burton, sort of like behind the scenes, but then Burton because my last name's Burton, and Burton's kind of cool because
No relation to Tim Burton?
Unfortunately not, but kind of fortunately, like the guy, I love him, but he kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah,
So
right.
like, I love the nicheness of his, like, you know, author and everything like that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm I'm gonna stay over here, you stay over there. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
cool.
still
Keep
cool.
distance, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So behind the burden is your Instagram page where people can follow you, and
Yep.
you'll be posting about all the projects that you're working on coming up. What about yourself, James?
Yeah, so I also primarily use Instagram as my own sort of personal promotional page, and that is the James Garces.
Yeah.
Only because just James Garces on its own was taken already.
Right,
By
yeah.
some soccer coach or something. I don't know. But yeah, so mine is the James Garces, and that is where I post all of my sort of professional updates on what I'm doing.
What are people going to see now if they
If they
sign up and
yeah,
start
if they
following
sign up
you?
now, you'll see. I mean, you'll see a lot of nothing special stuff, but you'll also see just a quick sort of brief history of the things that I've worked on already. So a couple other short films, a couple plays, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When you're working on something like this, does it get all your attention, or do you guys have other projects going at the same time, or?
It kind of depends on, I think, what your role is and how attached you are to the project itself. So I know for
Yeah.
me and Taylor, when we were like really sort of, hammering in getting this, like, to the standard that it is, it was sort of taking up most of our attention. But then I know for people that were just there on set,
Yeah.
like, they did their job and then they went on and did other things.
Yeah.
And then they might have come back to it a bit later on just to sort of give their thoughts, give their feedback. But yeah.
Yeah, as an actor, you can have a few irons in the fire.
Yeah.
Quite a few different roles coming up. Could have a real nasty character that you have to audition for that could be due a couple of days before you're going to shoot this one. So bounce in
Yeah,
and out of
right.
a few different
So
things.
obviously, while you're around in Pingelly for the 5 days of just get out there, get it done and stuff like that, that's pretty much all consuming, except for you're saying that you were pretty accommodating to, you had an anniversary and someone had a birthday and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So the
absolutely.
production crew was pretty accommodating for that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I imagine it's pretty all consuming when you're out there, but you still do have other projects that are sort of on the back burner or things that you're working on. And
that and day-to-day job. For me, working FIFO 8 and 6. And a couple other auditions and bits and pieces here and there, and juggling family life and footy and stuff like that. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah. But once you're in the zone,
Yeah.
Look, if it was a different type of movie and I was playing a really nasty character or something like that, it probably wouldn't be a good idea for my wife and daughter to come and visit because I'd have to break too far out of that.
Yeah,
Another
right.
example of that was I had to play once upon a time played a FIFO guy who came home and he was single and he hit the pub and he met a girl. I just had a bit of a blue with the missus the morning before that. So for me to get into that character after having an argument to come back to this happy-go-lucky FIFO guy that's had a couple of beers and then meets a girl, it was a bit difficult to get into character for that one.
Yeah,
The other
right.
time I had a really good morning with my wife and daughter, and I had to play a grumpy guy.
Yeah, right.
So when I was on set for this one, having wife and daughter come wasn't bad because I was a father anyway.
Yeah.
So it probably topped me up for that role.
Yeah, right. So what's going on in your personal life can sometimes influence you getting into character and stuff for certain roles.
Yeah, there's little tricks, got to get into character. There's a scene that you taught me a few tricks about getting in the right headspace for the task you had to perform. So yeah, there's bits and pieces you pick up along the way, but obviously if you go into a job, you're thinking about the job.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about yourself, Jacob? You got many irons in the fire and many things on the go?
At the moment, no. At the moment, I'm just sort of sort of coasting. I've got that film that I said, short film, not feature film, not big yet, but so I've got that on the back burner. I had something else, but I had to stop that because I've got Whopper coming up. So for me, it's just going to be uni, trying to get a job, that sort of stuff.
But you've got some availability if anybody's listening and looking for a lead actor.
If you're out there,
if
you need
there.
a lead actor, you call, or a supporting it. I'll do anything. Please give me something.
Please give me something. What about yourself, James? Getting these guys into character, like they were just saying, is it hard for you as a director to sort of get the right emotion for the right scene out of them?
I wouldn't say it's hard.
No?
Like sometimes you do have to reapproach the way that you communicate with your actors because everyone learns differently and everyone communicates differently.
Yeah.
So if, for instance, you want someone to be in a certain headspace when they say something, and the way that you're approaching this sort of shot isn't working for them, you can pull them aside. You can go, okay, what are you feeling right now? Why are you feeling this? Sort of how would you approach this situation? How would I approach the situation? You sort of come to a happy medium.
Yeah.
And sometimes you kind of have to just like be quite abstract with it, and give them an analogy that like doesn't really make much sense in the moment, but it gets them thinking, and it gets them understanding
Gets the
the
right
right
emotion
action.
out of
Yeah,
them for their
exactly. So
scene.
they might be going, "What's going on?" But then like you look at it sort of on the camera, and you're like, "That's perfect."
Just on that, I mean, this man loves his analogies. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just doing a scene and he's like, it doesn't work. Let's try it like this. And he'll give you this just absurd analogy. I remember even just in the audition, I did it one way and he was like, can you try it? But imagine that you are like, you're in class and you really need to go to the toilet and you're putting your hand up to ask the teacher to go to the toilet. And I'm just thinking, what does that even mean?
What emotion are you trying to get out of me with
what
this?
What am I actually doing
Yeah.
there? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about figuring out the emotion. It's about getting into the headspace, like he said. And I think that's a great way to approach it. And I mean, there are many different ways, but I think James has a great way of doing it, and also just more praising of him, really. But yeah, no, like yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't know what else I have to say. It's good.
That's right. And where can people follow you when you do have some more projects that you're working on and stuff? Do you have some socials?
Well, I've got, if you want to follow what I'm doing, I've got a Facebook page, my name, Jacob Miles, on Facebook. But if you just want to sort of catch up with my life whenever I post in every 3 or 4 months, I've got an Instagram account, Jack from Nothing Special. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Sort of haven't moved on from this role. Yeah.
You don't feel the pressure to keep the content
No,
coming
I
and
do.
stuff like
I
that?
don't know what this 2 or 3 times a week thing is. You
Yeah.
know? I'll post when I feel like it.
Yeah.
Kai, do you have anything?
Kai, do you have some socials and stuff people can follow you on and see these roles that you're talking about you got coming
hopefully it's still there. There's an A4 flyer on the notice board.
Old school.
At the
business card.
It's got
at
a
the
little like
Pidgley
tear-off
General
strap.
Store, and I've cut my phone number at the bottom. Hopefully there's still a few tags there you can take. But seriously, my phone number's I'm on Facebook. I just got on Instagram the other day, so I'm figuring all that stuff out. But if anyone's looking for me, you can find me through Loxton Management.
Loxton Management.
There we go. Very professional.
Very
Yeah, right. And are they the guys that sort of help you get some of your gigs?
They're working on it. Yeah. We're working together. Just trying to make me as an attractive prospect as possible. Guiding me in that way.
It's quite a healthy beard you got going there. Am I right saying there was something about Beards of WA that
Beards
you were
of Perth.
Beards of Perth,
yeah,
right?
Beards of Perth. We're a group for men.
Yeah.
Don't need to have a beard. It's just something that most men have in common. They either shave or they have a beard.
Is it specifically men, or could you have a bearded lady in there, or is it no ladies
haven't
allowed?
yet that we know of.
Yeah.
But no, it's
That we know of.
Unless they had like a man name, they might have got through.
Yep.
But yeah, look, it's a support group for men's mental health.
Yeah, cool.
We're on Facebook, big presence on Facebook. Yeah, Beards of Perth, and yeah, just a place where blokes can talk openly about any issues that they may have. And get support. It's great, going through something, you throw a post up on there, and then you got 50 blokes saying, "Hey, I've been through the same thing." You know you're not alone.
Yeah, cool. Good support network and stuff.
Absolutely, and offering different ways and of looking at things and support and whatnot. So I've helped a lot of people through that, and I've been helped a lot through that as well.
And do you have to have a beard to be a part of the support network?
Not at all.
So Jacob could do it?
No.
I can grow a beard, I'll have you know. It's very bad and patchy, but it'll be there.
Yeah, no, like I say, it's just something that blokes can talk about. What sort of beard product do you use? I can't grow a beard. There's it's just a thing that blokes have in common.
Yeah.
That it's a conversation starter. It's a starter. It's just men.
That's cool. That's what we're all about here at IPL Radio, supporting mental health and stuff like that. So that's cool.
Ash down one time, and he's the founder of it.
Excellent.
Sometime Ash and I come down and
have
a yarn one night.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Oh, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in. Was there anything else that you just wanted to mention or plug before we wrap it up?
Not really. Thanks so much for having us, Kit. I really
No,
appreciate
that's
it.
all right. Thanks heaps for coming in. It's been awesome just to have a chat with you and sort of see where the industry's at here in WA, Like I said, we are sort of really isolated, and WA gets that stigma that nothing big sort of happens here. But like I said, it's cool to see people that are out there making moves and doing even these short films that have really good production value and good quality and stuff to them, So it's been really nice having you here.
Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any more song requests before Chicken Train.
Can we rickroll
That's-
people? Can we put on Never Gonna Give You
Never
Up?
Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
Oh, you're gonna rickroll me.
We're gonna rickroll everyone. The whole of IPL
Never-
listeners.
I'm sure that's in here. I'm sure I've played it.
Oh,
I'm sure I've got it in my
Have you
playlist.
rickrolled people?
I've rickrolled people before.
Oh no.
That's a good thing to do. All right, guys. Well, yeah, we've been talking to the cast and crew of Nothing Special. Again, thanks heaps for coming in. We'll get this posted out on YouTube soon, and people can follow you. And hopefully, it's released to the public soon. Everybody can get out and check out Nothing Special.
Awesome.
you very
Thank you
much.
so
Nice.
much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.